It is foie gras that turns into horsepower. The goose of horsepower. Eat the air and like it. More power is needed to satiate the beast.
Guys, if you know anything about me, you know that the only thing I like as much as cars and driving is cooking in my home kitchen. I make all kinds of stuff, from barbecue to Japanese to pastas and Italian to baked goods, you name it. I love cooking it. And when I find a great quality tool, I stick with it. And that's why I'm super stoked about these Kamikoto knives from Honshu, Japan. These things are amazing. High quality Japanese steel. They come in this really heavy duty, genuine ash wood box. It's actually got some real weight to it, so it makes a good gift. These things are beautifully made. I particularly like this chef's knife here. It's got a real good weight, good balance, nice grip, very comfortable, and when I'm cutting, it goes through a ribeye like butter. They sent me this 3-knife set, and it's just great. This little mini chef's knife is great. Limes, right, or small bits of food. I like chopping big stuff with the big chef's knife, and if you're doing sushi or filleting fish or something, this 9-inch chef's knife is just beautiful. They are a great gift for the holidays. These things are professional grade, subject to incredibly rigorous inspection process, comes with a certificate of authenticity from Kamikoto, and they make a great gift for the home or professional chef in your family. Used by Michelin star chefs all over the world, and they come with a lifetime guarantee, right? Lifetime. They will last forever, or Kamikoto will replace it. Now, Kamikoto has a lot of offers going on right now for the holidays, but they're offering my viewers an extra $50 on any purchase with discount code SMOKINGTIRE, and that's on top of the other special offers. So go to kamikoto.com/smokingtire. That's in the video description. Click that and use code SMOKINGTIRE to get $50 off any purchase from Kamikoto Knives. And thank you for sponsoring today's video.
Insane, brutally fast, crazy, alarming. These are all descriptors that you could use to describe a 2020 GT500's power, and you'd be totally justified in using them. 760 horsepower, 625 pound-feet of torque. Just gigantic numbers. Like, I never thought there would be a car that would make the Camaro ZL1's power and torque feel insignificant. But here we are. Here we are in crazy land, the crazy land of cars. 2022. Everything has 400 horsepower, and you can get 2,000 in an electric vehicle if you want to. So if those are the words you use to describe a regular GT500, what am I going to use to describe one that has 800 horsepower and weighs 100 pounds less? Irresponsible? I mean, that feels like a bit too much. It's all about who wields the power. Oh my God. These cars. We have a 5.2 liter V8 with a big blower sitting on top of it and an intake, aftermarket intake, that is the size of my calf. No joke. I mean, look at my hand for comparison. It is gigantic, and it needs to be gigantic to shove enough air into that very, very hungry blower that just stuffs air into the engine, whether the engine wants it or not. It is foie gras that turns into horsepower. The goose of horsepower. Eat the air and like it. More power is needed to satiate the beast. When this car came out, Ford said it was the most power-dense supercharged V8 on sale. You know, smaller displacement than competitors from Chevy or Dodge. So I guess it's Ford's way of just saying size doesn't matter. And honestly, it doesn't. When you have 760 horsepower, I know that there's the Red Eye and other cars that, you know, that came out that make 800 horsepower. You don't need it. You don't need it. If you runway race, if you drag race, sure, maybe. I mean, out here, I am hesitant to use much of the throttle. We're gonna go to a straighter road in a moment. Let's talk about the generations of Mustang. The first blown Mustang that hooked me was the Terminator, you know, the 03 or 04 Cobra, iron block, big power, took to mods like, you know, a fish to water. And you could make gigantic power with those things. But, you know, they handle okay with mods. I've driven a couple of them that had really good suspension work, and they do a very impressive job. But out of the box, they were much better in a straight line. It just, there was too much weight in the front. Tires weren't that wide back then. Our tire technology wasn't as good. Jump ahead a couple years, 2013 GT500, which is the successor, and it's a little better. It miraculously achieved 1G on the skid pad, even with tires that were 285 rear, 265 front. But whenever I drove that car, it always felt like it was over its skis and about to fall down. I look at that skid pad number and I have trouble believing it, because whenever I drove it, it just didn't feel agile. It didn't feel stuck to the road. It felt like all motor, and it was just dragging a broken horse cart behind it. You know, it's like one of those old West carriages, and it broke apart, and then the horses are running away, just dragging the reins and maybe one axle behind it. But then the next generation came, and it's been a miraculous vehicle. The GT Mustang is a great overall car, and all of that work, and all the work, most importantly, that they put into the GT350 and GT350R got handed to this thing. So what we have is a car with 305 fronts, 315 rears, IRS, wide track, quick steering. I mean, I am maneuvering around these roads, through these corners, with an agility that feels M-like. It feels entry-level Porsche-like. I cannot feel the giant motor in the front. The car feels really even and really planted. And this doesn't even have the carbon track pack. This has the technology pack, but otherwise it's a base car. It's got the big Brembo brakes. How big are these brakes? 16.5 inches in the front rotor. That is only half an inch smaller than the wheels that came on the Terminator Cobra. The wheels! And you need it. You need brakes that big if you want to haul down like that. Like that. From 70 miles an hour to 0, it only takes 16 more feet than the C7 ZR1. And that car weighs 500 pounds less than this one. All right, and what an impressive, grippy beast. Really. Got some heat in the tires now, Pilot Sport Cup 2s. And of course, this has magnetic shocks that are just soaking up these bumps so well. But they don't remove all the feeling. Oh, it's so fast. Oh, it's so fast. It's like 80 degrees up here, and this thing does not care. Does not care. And of course, we have our different modes in this vehicle. Sport, track, slippery, which has a snow symbol. Do not recommend taking this to the snow. I kind of want to, but I would need a lake. You know, whatever lake they filmed James Bond GoldenEye on, that's the lake you need, because I think it would be a little difficult to manage. I am so impressed by the handling of this car, considering the size, the weight, and the power it possesses. And I know that, you know, power is only dangerous if you use it incorrectly, but this just continues to support the point we've made over and over on this channel, which is that we live in the best time for cars, because you can get so much horsepower and so much grip and performance at any price point you want, pretty much, and it will be manageable. 760 horsepower out of the box, that used to require $1 million to get. I mean, and now with a simple intake and Corsa exhaust, this is 800 horsepower. And this beautiful carbon that shed 100 pounds. It took so much weight off the front that the car actually lifted up because of the spring rate, and they had to change the suspension to get it to sit right again. Man, I mean, I wish I had a stock car to go back to back with, but it's never a bad thing when you lose 100 pounds. Unless you weigh 130 pounds. This car isn't that modified performance-wise. The most obvious modification is the red carbon fiber, which is almost everywhere. That's what helped take all the weight off the front. What I really like about it is, one, the fitment looks really, really good. It lines up really well with the fenders and hood. Tesla, take a note. And the weave of the carbon meets in a really nice way. It looks really, really well done. And the fitment inside on these interior pieces is excellent. I mean, there is no gap here in the center console with these carbon pieces. They took all the dash out, and it fits really, really nicely. The fit and finish is really well done. And what I also like is the red clear coat tint, because so many times we see people adding carbon fiber to their cars because they want the performance or the weight, or they just like advertising that they've added a performance part. I feel like for some people, carbon fiber has just been in a way of saying, I'm really into performance stuff, or it's almost become an aesthetic choice, an accessory. But if your car is yellow or blue or, you know, whatever, sometimes adding a giant black square in the middle of your hood, to me, it upsets the flow of the paint and the shape of the vehicle a lot. But this, with this red tinted clear coat, it's not such a big jump to the ruby red color, and I think it works really, really well. So if you're thinking of putting carbon on your car and you can afford to do a colored clear over it, I recommend. Okay, Tracy said I could try launch control, and that's what we're going to do. 3,000 RPM, dump brake. Whoa! Whoa! The shifts are so quick. The shifts are insane. They're almost invisible. Weird stutter in first gear. It's like it broke traction so hard that it completely cut the throttle for a second, and then it woke itself back up. I don't know. It was like a running back that got knocked out mid-step and then woke back up again and got really angry. And then, wow, the acceleration is explosive. Jeez, this transmission is so impressive. I don't know why I'm mad about it, but I am. And then, you know, you put it in normal mode, we can turn the volume down, and like, it rides really well. The mag ride's good. Ride's great. You can putt around town. You have your exhaust volume knob. You can go normal, sport, or offend the neighbors and get kicked out of your HOA. That's track mode. These folks say they're very lucky that they live 16 miles from their nearest neighbor. Yeah. Is that by choice, or did you get evicted because you both own really loud Mustangs? Man, steering feel is really nice for an electric unit. I can feel the lateral load on the front wheels. That's what I want through a steering wheel, right there. You know, I can feel it pushing back a little bit. I can feel what the tire's doing. Communicative. This car has so many elements that I love in performance vehicles. It's got noisy attitude up the wazoo. It has a street presence for sure. Steering's good, brakes are good. And I mean, it accelerates like one of those people who decided to sit on top of an airbag and then activate it. Like, if you haven't seen that, check out those junkyard videos. Oh, the blower whine is so nice. I love blower whine. If you guys watched my supercharged 370Z versus turbo 370Z video, you'll know that I am a sucker for a supercharger. I am. Turbos take away a sound. Yeah, there's a little whistle, but not like this. Not like this. Yeah! What I love about this generation of Mustang is it feels with the times technologically. I mean, the 2013 GT500 or the Cobra, like, they felt very brutal, but a little bit, a little old school. You know, it was the big motor formula, and they were trying to make the handling work. But to me, it was always classic muscle car dynamics wrapped in a modern-looking package. This has modern technology, suspension geometry, performance, feedback, feel. It has all of that stuff. You know, when you watch Transformers and it's like a robot that's hidden inside a Camaro or whatever, that's now what this feels like. It feels like very clever technology handed to you from DARPA, shoved in a Mustang body. GT500 is an impressive vehicle. Probably not a kind of vehicle we'll see for very long. If you can take some weight out, add a little power, you don't need much more. I mean, she tracks this car. I get it. This would be a riot on a racetrack. Just have your wits about you. And for those of you saying why it doesn't have a manual transmission, I think this is great. And with this much power, I'm happy to have both hands on the wheel. I want to thank Paul and Tracy for bringing this ridiculous car out. Thank you so much. I want to thank you guys for watching the channel and for listening to the podcast. And as always, we will see you next time.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.